Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Nathan Boyd, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Petty Officer Benjamin Hale. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Galilee Regional Catholic Primary School, South Melbourne, Victoria. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was a vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops at Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who gave their lives for us in war and in operation for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid by the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Trooper William John Cyril Kidman. William Kidman, known as Cyril, was born in 1895 to Charles and Ellen Kidman of Sydney. As a small child, he lived in Petersham, where he attended the local school. But when he was about 8 years old, his father left, never to be seen again, and Ellen took her family to Manly. Cyril concluded his education at the Fort Street School in Sydney and went on to work as a stock clerk for the company Warden Harry Graves Limited. He was a strong swimmer and a member of the North Stein Surf Lifesaving Club at Manly. Over his time there, he was awarded the Surf Bathing Association's Bronze Medallion and the Royal Lifesaving Society's Proficiency Certificate and bronze and silver medals. In 1914, he was offered the position of the Surf Lifesaving Club secretary, but withdrew his acceptance to go to war. Cyril Kidman enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in September 1914, just weeks after the outbreak of war, putting his age up to 21 to do so. He was accepted for service with the 6th Light Horse Regiment and began his training immediately. Part of the 2nd Light Horse Brigade, the 6th Light Horse Regiment sailed from Sydney on the 21st of December 1914, arriving in Egypt several weeks later to continue training in the desert. The Light Horse were not considered suitable for use on the Gallipoli Peninsula. However, after the first casualties of the landing and the confusion of the days after, it was decided to send the Light Horse men to Gallipoli to serve without their horses. Trooper Kidman probably landed with his squadron in late May and would go on to serve in a largely defensive capacity over the coming weeks. During his training, Cyril became particular mates with Trooper Harold O'Brien, a 27-year-old Catholic stock agent from Casino, and both likely arrived on Gallipoli together. On the 12th of July, a British force attacked the enemy in Archibaba Nulla sector of the line at the tip of the Gallipoli Peninsula. In support of that operation, various Australian units were ordered to go out and harass the Turks opposite their line in the hopes of drawing reserves away from Cape Helles and up to Anzac Cove. An officer of the 6th Light Horse later wrote to say Kidman's troop played a very gallant part. They went out in front of our trenches and stormed every hill. Every man was cool, steady, and game, and the officer in charge did splendidly and was mentioned in dispatches. The work was successful and achieved its object. Although the overall success of the operation is debatable, it is certain that it was costly in lives, with at least 4 men of the small band of the 6th Light Horse who advanced killed in action. Trooper Cyril Kidman and his best mate, Trooper Harold O'Brien, left the trenches together. As they advanced, the Turks opened a merciless fire with rifles, machine guns, and shrapnel. Kidman and O'Brien were hit one after the other, and both were killed instantly. Their bodies could not be retrieved that day, but lay out in the open together until they could be brought in under the cover of darkness. Cyril Kidman and Harold O'Brien were buried side by side on Holly Ridge in a joint service. The Protestant chaplain, Gordon Robertson, buried Kidman, while at his side, the Catholic chaplain, Father Michael Bergen, buried O'Brien. Kidman's officer later wrote, God, how brave they were. On they came in the face of murderous fire, but they never flinched. Poor fellows. It makes me shudder when I think of how cut up they were. Another close friend of Kidman's and O'Brien's, Trooper Thomas Mulholland, wrote, "I console myself in the knowledge that they died a noble death." He added that Kidman and O'Brien both rest peacefully on the slopes of a hill overlooking the Aegean Sea. I cannot speak too highly of his comrades, who have erected a very nice cross and also a wreath of evergreens placed by the officers, non-coms, and the men of his troop on the graves. After the war, Cyril Kidman's grave was moved to Shell Green Cemetery. There he lies today, still beside his mate, Harold O'Brien, under the epitaph. "Eternal rest grant him, O Lord, not our will, but thine be done." His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Trooper William, John, Cyril Kidman, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Posier or in the low scrubber Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorials Development Project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.